Hello and welcome to Joy Turner's Talk with Your Animals. I'm Joy, and as always, I'm delighted to be your host every week, Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m., right here on Alternative Talk, 1150 a.m. Talk with Your Animals is a unique show about animal communication, the perspective of life from the animal's point of view, and alternative ways of relating to those wonderful animals who grace your life. The second and fourth show of each month, we have featured guests who share information on their specialty and can answer your calls. And, of course, today is the fourth show of the month. We are going to be speaking with Zoe Brooks. She's the co-founder of Nurtural Horse, and she's an advocate for the Bitless Bridle. That's actually going to be a lovely thing that we're going to talk about today. I think any horse person would be just absolutely wanting to know about this because it acts like a bridle without a bit, and we're going to talk more about that on the show with Zoe. And you can call those numbers to either have me speak with your animal kids or to speak with Zoe about this bitless bridle that she's come up with that I think is absolutely fantastic. Please remember, animals do not need to be physically present with you or me for me to be able to talk with them. And, of course, as always, I like to remind everyone that I live with 10 animal kids as my family. Braveheart and Amira, my golden retrievers, are here in the studio with me. And at home are my kitties, Mercury and Venus, horses, Dreamweaver, Alla, Delight and Diego, and canaries sing and song. It's true. And my horses have never had I can actually talk today, have never had a bit in their mouths. They're not ever going to. I was just going to use rope halters, but this certainly is a marvelous alternative to that. My horses actually were originally a little bit apprehensive about using a bridle because of the concept with the bit. And we had a long discussion about it, and it actually was easily enough adjusted. And as it sat with the horses, or as the horses sat with the bridle, and realized that it wasn't going to be any big traumatic thing, and I would just show them, see, I just pull here, I pull there, I do this, I do that. They actually thought that it would give me more control even than the rope halter. So both of my horses that have never been in anything else did actually accept that and think that it would be a really good alternative. I said to a friend of mine that is into horses, I asked her horse, she rides in a bit. And her horses apparently, unless it was very young, never not had a bit in its mouth. And when she put that bridle on her girl, it was almost like the horse couldn't believe what was going on. She kept showing me just amazement. So, you have a number of horses here. Would you like to choose one? Well, not here, but of course.
Well, I have 3 horses that I'd like to just quickly ask what they think of going from bit to bitless, if you have time to fit all 3 of them in. Zeus belongs to Stephanie Smith. Stephanie was one of our earliest and youngest supporters. Zeus is an off-the-track thoroughbred who was obviously ridden before in a bit, and you'll see him in several of the videos at our site. So I'd love to know what Zeus has to say.
Okay, he must be a very contemplative horse because he took a deep breath, he kind of composed himself, and he says, well, he thinks the best thing he can say is, and then his whole attitude changes, and he says, he loves being part of this revolution that's taking place in the horse world, and he's so happy about it. He is so delighted that his little teeny, what he considers almost insignificant little part of this whole thing was to get his person to understand how much better the horses feel when they're in these, and the fact that they can still listen. He thinks he used to run away a lot, when he was in the bit.
Yep.
And he tells me he doesn't do that anymore when he doesn't even want to call it bitless. He says when he has the right kind of equipment, he doesn't run away anymore.
Zeus was one of the first horses ever to demonstrate this bridle publicly. We did demonstrations at the Royal Winter Fair, and this horse jumped 3'6" in a little tiny ring, bitless, by the end of the week at the Royal Winter Fair. We were so proud of him.
He says, and he is just like beyond being pleased with himself. It's almost like you've helped immortalize him by letting him be this, like, he sees himself like a spokesperson.
Well, isn't it good people and good horses working together that makes things happen in this world, Joy?
Absolutely. And he